Before you begin this video, just know that towards the end, as I do a meditation, I get emotional because this video and the topic also speaks to me and to the way that I see the world today. So if you're not into that, I'm not crying out loud or something like that, but just know. And if you're not into that, of course, just skip the last bit, but maybe you need to hear what I'm saying. It's about healing, finding home. So yeah, enjoy this video. You push play to a power yoga class. Welcome. Today's going to be all about the hips, and then I'm going to weave in a theme about being found, which is a story from the Bible that I absolutely love and I have a personal connection with. We'll begin standing today. If you're super tired, come down, child's pose, something like that, if that's what you need, right? If you want to stand tall. Maybe get your feet a little bit further apart than you normally would, so further than hip width. And then stand in mountain pose and close your eyes as you listen to the intro. So soften everything, your knees, your shoulders. You can shake it all a little bit, arms. And maybe you move your hip just slightly from left to right. It can feel like you're soothing yourself a little bit when moving slowly and calm. Breathe in and out through your nose. And almost as you're looking at yourself, looking at your thoughts from the outside, is there anything you want to let go of or surrender to God before we start moving? Looking at yourself from the outside, maybe you realize that there are thoughts about the future, the past, that's just actually not serving anything. Sigh out if that feels natural for you. And then you can circle your arms out to the side as you inhale, big circle. Palms meet on top of your head, and draw your hands down as you exhale into prayer pose. Doing that a few times more. You can even bend your knees as you inhale and reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in prayer. The scripture that I'll read at some point, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees and what is called sinners. And if you have ever opened the Bible and read something in it, you might have this image of God being the judge, because they're sinners who didn't follow the rules. And just pay attention to the fact that culture in the Middle East is very different and was different than ours today. So to understand the purpose of Jesus talking to sinners and Pharisees, think of Jesus talking to us, maybe as a doctor, as a health provider, that want to give the best advice to the ones that comes for help. Last circle. And when your palms meet and you go into prayer pose, soften your knees more, fall forward. And if it feels natural, you can lift your heels and sway from left to right slowly. As always, warming up slowly with the spine, and then we'll do more of the powerful stuff in a moment.
All right, navel in, soften your knees quite a bit, and then roll your spine up to a stand. Maybe bring your hands out to the side, open up your chest, soften your knees, so you're not hyperextending. Straighten your spine, palms together. Tilt the hip back for this little bit of a tilt, but make sure you soften your knees. Navel in and roll forward. When you come down here, you take the chin towards the chest and roll up again, navel in as you rise up to support the spine and everything. Rise up, maybe hands overhead as you lean back. Just one last time. Standing straight, shoot the hip a little bit back, but navel in and soften, fold forward. If you were standing at the middle of your mat, you might want to step your hands to the front and your feet to the back of the mat so you can find your down dog. And then move your dog. Soften your elbows so that your ears and arms are somewhat aligned. From here, coming into a hovering tabletop. So again, bend your knees, let them come down to a hover over the mat, and just move your hands if you weren't in a good alignment. And bring the hip back, keep the knees bent to some degree. And let's do that again. You might inhale as you move forward, hovering the knees. Exhale, flat spine. Inhale, hip up and back. And then to some degree, extend your legs. One last time. Inhale. Hover knees, exhale. Inhale, hip up and back. You should feel your thighs a little bit here. Exhale, down dog. Bring the right leg up and bend your knee. Bring it in underneath yourself to a plank. Up and back again. Gonna do that 3 times so you can inhale on the way up. Exhale, plank. Inhale. Create length. Exhale. Last time. Hope you feel this in your core. And bring the foot down before we repeat this on the other side. Find a tabletop. Come up on your knees. And bring your arms out to the side, so you might be standing still, but I'm just going to move here. Bring the elbows back. Bend your elbows 90 degrees and bring them behind your spine without leaning back. A few more times. Inhale, arms up. Bring your elbows, bring them behind the shoulder blade as much as you possibly can. Squeeze the shoulder blades in as you kind of draw the elbows down as if they could reach behind you on the spine there. Hopefully they can't, because if they could, you would probably have a shoulder issue. All right, hands down on the floor. You can circle your wrist if that's nice. Downward facing dog, your left leg. And exhale, plank, knee lifted up underneath yourself without lifting your spine too much. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale, and I'm using my Ujjayi breath. Last time up, and then this time bring the foot through so you can step to the top of the mat. Full forward, shake everything. And let's rise, mountain pose, getting more into everything. Maybe you want to twist a little bit though before, because we haven't done that yet. All right, hope you feel ready by now. Sink your hip back and see if you can find any sort of balance without leaning too much into this hip. And then bring your right leg forward, heel down, and then you might want to sit your buttocks a little bit lower so you feel the left thigh really turn on. Then lift the right leg and bring it back See if you can balance to a high lunge. And if you want to go really at it, go for a long distance. Lower down so the thigh here is aligned with the floor. And you might have a slight back bend here, which is okay. But if it's too much, tuck the tailbone a little bit under. Opening for a twist. Your left leg is at the front. Move to your left leg or left side. Open, twist, arms up. Bring it back, warrior two, so pivot the back foot. Bring your arms out and walk your feet really far apart and breathe. Sinking down so you feel the strength or lack of it. Bring your hands into prayer. Lean forward as you extend the front leg so we have that triangle position. Shoulders stack on top of each other. Navel in, stay put. Or if you want a little bit more, bring this hand up like a shooting arrow, up overhead. Maybe hands behind you so your thumb moves behind your back. Keep the alignment, one line with your whole body. Extend the arms again. Bring them back to heart center. And then lift up. Turn your hands here to the front. You might want to bend the front leg for that to happen. So your hands will reach down. I take the back heel off and lift the left leg up and back for a three-legged dog. Maybe you want to keep this leg lifted. If you're good, bring it into a plank. Bring it back again, three-legged dog. Bring it forward one more time. Both feet on the floor. You might want to go on your knees there the first time through vinyasa. So lower down, elbows in. No need to actually come all the way down if you don't feel like it. Lifting up for a bit of a baby cobra. Push through the hand. Downward facing dog. Jump or walk to the front. Fold forward. Again, chair pose. Make sure you have some distance in between your feet. Often I see people who gather their feet completely, which is also a variation, but we want to balance. Sometimes it's good with that hip width distance in between your feet, so two fists. All this on the other side. So your left heel comes forward. Maybe you sit down if it's possible. Heel on the floor. Notice your spine is straight. Lift the heel off. See if you can balance. Bring the left leg back for this wide, high lunge, crescent lunge. Bring it to an open twist to your right side. Try to lift the knee here, kneecap a little bit towards the thigh to activate the back leg. Warrior two. Pivot the back foot. Again, walk the feet apart, lower down, and breathe. Bring the knee, front knee towards the pinky toe. Hands into prayer. Lean forward, extend the front leg, lift this top shoulder. You might bring a hand there and lift it on top of the other one. Navel in. So the bottom of your navel is in, but you breathe through the ribs, so to say, and maybe stay put. Or bring both arms, not legs, up overhead. Bring them back. It's okay to be shaking. Coming back. Bend the front leg, both hands down, back heel off. Right leg is forward. A three-legged dog with right leg up and back, and just always adjust to whatever you need. Plank with maybe right leg lifted. Bring it up and back. And one more time, plank, right leg lifted.
Both feet down on hands, knees, toes, whatever you prefer. Lower down. Lifting your chest, cobra, up dog, what you like. Down dog. Take 3 deep breaths. The story I'll be telling you in a while is just about a sheep. And sheep are not strategically evil or anything. They're just a little bit, honestly, a little bit stupid. Sweet looking, but not the most bright animals we might find. So one of the sheep wanders off. And maybe we do that as well, sometimes. Jump or walk forward, full forward. We're gonna do this sequence again, but maybe with a little bit extra on top of it. So you can do what we just did, or follow my lead here. So lift your right leg, bring the foot, the heel forward, but this time let it hover and see if you can sink down. Breathe. Sometimes slow, powerful yoga is the best. Bring the right foot back. Ooh, long distance. You might still feel this fatigue in the front left thigh. This time, bring your hands into prayer for this twist. Bring your elbow maybe all the way out, but don't let it push down on the outside of the thigh. Let it hover, this piece of paper in between, and see if you can stay strong here. Breathe. All right, squeeze the inner thighs as you lift. Warrior 2, pivot the back foot. You know the front heel is going to align with the arch of the back foot or the heel. Hands again in prayer pose. Make sure your spine is straight towards the sky, and maybe you stay put there. From here, keep the front leg bent. All right, we extended it before, but this time keep it bent. Lean forward, stack your shoulders. Bring the palms up overhead if you want to. Make sure you have that tight core. Bring your hands behind your head. We did not do that on the other side, but we're going to do it here. Hands behind you, elbows in by the temples. Reach, hope you feel the front thigh. Bring the arms back. Ooh. Lift up. And maybe with a sigh of relief, bring both hands down. Left leg, 3-legged dog, up. Plank, but bring left knee to left elbow on the outside of the body. And stay, lift the leg up towards the sky. 2 more breaths. Ooh, you're doing good. Lift it up and back. And maybe keep the leg hovering as you move into plank. Maybe keep the left leg still hovering as you lower down, navel in. Both feet on the floor this time. Lift and downward facing dog. Shake things out. If you want to jump, bend your knees, heels off, land softly towards the top of the mat, fall forward. Chair pose. You feel nice and warm by now. I hope so. Left heel forward. Picturing you have a rope around your hip as you sink down here, so you're not leaning out to the side, but really connecting with the outer edge, so to say, of your thighs. Hover, sit low. You might go lower than me. Ooh, I feel the burn. Left leg back. Long step, high lunge. hands in prayer, twisting your right side, it must be, again hovering so that there is no connection between leg, knee and elbow. Try to see if your thumb can move somewhat towards the center of your chest. A few breaths more. Beautiful. Warrior 2, and I extend the front leg as I move around and then bend it again. Okay, go a little bit further. A little bit further. There you go. As before, front leg bent. If it's like fatiguing, shaking too much, extend it and shake it out. If you're ready, hands in prayer. Navel in. Lean forward. Track this top shoulder up. Both hands overhead. And instead of bending the elbows as we do on the other side, you gotta bring your arms out for open shape. Whew. Breathe. Bring them back. Hands to heart center. Rise up. Maybe with a big sigh out. Make your way back into three-legged dog. Right leg up and back. Take the shoulders away from the ears if they tend to move up there. And then right knee to right armpit maybe, maybe elbow, maybe wrist. You should feel something going on here. And it's fine not to go all the way. One more breath if you can. Bring the leg up and back and keep it maybe lifted as you move into your plank. Lower down, exhale. Both feet on the floor. Inhale, cobra, up dog. And then child's pose. Or if you're full of energy, you can do a couple of more of these vinyasas with the leg lifted. So the story is about the sheep that wanders off. And sometimes we get lost. I get lost in my own life sometimes. Wanders off without any bad intent or something like it, but just because I don't really think about it. And I so need somebody to guide me back. And this is what the story is about. Jesus as the physician, as the doctor, reaching out, guiding us back, because we cannot do it by ourselves. Rising up into tabletop. Maybe you want padding on your knees. Fold your mat, something like it. Gonna feel the back of the thighs. So right leg up, keep it bent. And as you lift your knee with hip width height, it's very typical that we arch the back a little bit. So don't do that. Navel in, try to see if you can keep that tension in your belly. The foot, the sole of the foot is as you're walking on the ceiling. And then do a few small pulsation here to feel the glute and the hamstring of this right thigh. I'm going for the feel in the middle, the bullseye of the right glute. Because in the next one, we are gonna feel it on the outside of the right hip. You stay put. So now stop the pulsation, keep everything nice and tight, and then take your right knee out to the right side. Maybe keep it bent, maybe extend the leg out like this, right? Left knee and hip, keep it stacked. And then bring the foot somewhat forward and maybe not all the way back. Lower down, lift up. Heel is the highest point. So do kind of small pulsation moves, just two more. And and settle down the knee. It's kind of hard not to lean over to one arm, to lean over to the hip, but we try not to. Tabletop, maybe you want to come onto your fists just for this difference and take the spine up towards the sky. Straight spine again. Stay with your fists or use your wrists or your palms. Left leg. Again, checking in when you lift it. If the knee is too high, you most likely have this sway in your back. So knee, hip width or hip distance, and then those small pulsations might bring it a little bit higher though. Notice that the knee does not yet track out. Sometimes the knee want to go a little bit out. Keep it somewhat aligned with the other knee. 3, 2, 1. Stay put. Bring the knee out. Keep the knees bent and go for this one. Or extend if you want more. Check your alignment before you start moving and tap the toe. You can use your breath. So exhale as you bring the toe down. Inhale as you bring it up. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Come down on your back. Boat pose, just to activate some different muscle groups. Lean back. And you can stay here and move your arms. Navel in, shoulders back. Or lean somewhat back. Bring your arms out. Keep the chin towards the chest. And then take a seat again. Almost like somebody's pulling you up. Out. My hip is speaking. And up. If you can follow with your breath, maybe it's too slow, you can do that. I like to exhale as I take a seat. Two more. Beautiful. Bring the sole of the feet together. Knees out and lean forward. Butterfly. We're gonna use a bit of strength for these adductors, the inner thighs. But first relaxing just to feel how that is feeling in our body. And then you can bring your elbows or your hands, whatever reaches the best, and push your thighs or your knees, so to say, into your arms. Maybe just go for 50 because we want to try to avoid overdoing this, which is pretty easy to do. So push your thighs into your arms, and your arms, of course, resists a little bit. Sit tall. Keep it pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. We're going to do it again. I'll invite you just to pay attention to if you feel you connect better with one inner thigh or the other. Maybe if you're seated uneven due to some sort of injury or something, maybe you can still feel that something is happening. You close your eyes. And lift the thigh into your arms. Resist the push. 50-60%, not more. Feel it going all the way from the groins, maybe to where you're actually holding on. You're not holding on the kneecap, you're holding on the inside of the knee joint. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sole of the feet together and then roll down on your back.
And then gather your feet to some degree. If you have a block nearby, I didn't ask you to bring it. You can most definitely bring it between your thighs. Maybe that's nice. You will incorporate more inner thigh though. But knees, feet, thighs, whatever can reach together. And then kind of tilt the hips so the lumbar spine is reaching down on the mat. And from there, lift your hip up as high as you possibly can. I'm going to let my palms face up. So I'm trying to relax my shoulders. So I'm isolating this move to the glutes, to the back muscle. Hold it, lift. Keep the knees together. It's hard. I'm shaking. For 5. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly come down. You can do this again, or you can do a variation where we incorporate the inner thigh. It might look a little bit fun, but go with me if you like. Okay, navel in, and then roll and round your spine up. Keep again the thighs together, at least to begin with. From here, if your thighs are okay, if your ankles are okay, bring the knees a little bit out and back in again, squeeze. Here you, of course, could not hold on to your block. Can you feel, maybe outside of the hip, but more likely the inner seam of the thigh? Lift your hip. Do these kind of butterfly wings just 2 more times. Knees out and in. Knee out and in. And then bring yourself back and down. And maybe you take a butterfly in a relaxed way. Reversed pigeon pose. So we just stay here on the back. If you absolutely love the traditional pigeon pose, I won't hold you back of coming around. But bring your right ankle on your left thigh and hold onto your left thigh. Make sure this left leg is not like activated. Just let it relax. Pull the leg in, and if you possibly can, you can use your left elbow and push your right elbow and push the right knee out as you pull the left in. Did you get that? And breathe as I read this story. Keep your eyes closed, maybe. Now the tax collectors and the sinners were all gathered around to hear him, Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulder and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me. I have found my lost sheep." I tell you, in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over the 99 righteous persons who did not need to repent. Switch your stretch to the other side. You might think that these Pharisees and teachers of the law back then were self-righteous people, and they were.
But I can't help but think that we are totally the same. That we live also by the law, by a law. But which law might that be? I think a lot of people who believe in God live by the law of karma, thinking that if you do enough good, then things will most likely be all good. You deserve good things when you do good things. And so did the Pharisees. They believe exactly the same. And the story speaks to all of us who needs to figure out that it's really not karma. It's really not about what I can do, but it's about who Jesus is. That he's the doctor, he's the shepherd, reaching out to us when we're admitting that we cannot get our acts together. Bring your legs towards the sky. And maybe you do a little bit of foot movement. Then you can bring your left foot down and take a hold of your right leg, maybe your knee, maybe your shin, maybe your toes, whatever you can reach. If you have a strap, you can definitely use that. Don't pull it too much. I feel like extending the left leg, you can do that to some degree. And stay here. I truly believe, at least it's so in my life, that when I look within and we look within, yeah, we can see good intentions. We can see things that we do good. But could I do more good? I know I could. I know that I could be so much better. I am definitely not perfect. I need help. I cannot live up to the law and the perfect image that I put up, actually. Can you? Bring the right foot down, left leg up. And again, gentle pull on the hamstrings. The Bible is called the good news because there is good news for all of us who know that we're not perfect. It is that the shepherd goes out and looks for us. When we get lost, maybe get lost in our own pursuit of perfection or approval or whatever it might be, somebody's looking for us, searching and calling out our names. Maybe you can hear your name be called by the great shepherd. Bring both feet down on the floor. Get some distance in between the feet and windshield wiper your legs for a moment. You can stay on one side if you like that. Then you can find rest. So extend your legs, hands on the floor, palms facing up. Maybe you take the chin slightly towards the chest just for better neck posture as you rest. And picture this shepherd searching for this sheep. And all of a sudden he sees it. And he picks it up. He doesn't beat it up, he picks it up on his shoulder, knowing that this sheep cannot walk back by itself because it most likely just will run away again. Or it might be too tired. So you gently bring the sheep up on his shoulders and carry it all the way home. Maybe an image of the acts of Jesus carrying the cross for our healing, so that my brokenness can be healed by the grace of God. Maybe all of this is news you have heard before. Maybe give thanksgiving. Maybe it's news that is really new. You might not understand all of it, but you can just feel that there is something there. And maybe you respond with a prayer or a wish in your heart, just saying, yes, Jesus, carry me. Bring me home. And I really feel that to pray for you if you feel like you have lost your way. Maybe you want to put your hands on your heart. God, I pray for all that is watching this that might feel like they have lost their way in some way or the other. I pray that their experience right now, that you will lift them up, carry them home, body, soul, and mind. I pray for healing. And I pray for our nations as well. People that we know. Power struggles, wars, elections. God, lift us up and bring us home. We so need that healing and that grace because we cannot figure it out on our own. Please stay down on the mat if you know that something is happening. You might not understand it, but that's all perfectly fine. Sometimes God works in our bodies, in our emotions, more than our minds. If you're ready to take a seat, move your wrists and hands. Hug in your knees or whatever you feel like. Then you can bring yourself into a seat. This one really touched my heart, and I don't know, I think it's the first time that I actually really cried on a YouTube video, but it, I don't know, it really spoke to me, and maybe to you too. And let me know if you want me to pray for you. You can just write me in the comment there below if you want me to pray for you. If there's anything, you can always email me if there's any questions you might have about faith or this video, things you might not understand. From my heart to yours, God's peace and healing.